For those of you that don't know, my name is Sherry Kotara. I've spent the last 12 months serving as an AmeriCorps Vista, which is Volunteers in Service to America. It's a national service program. And I've been honored enough to serve with the Waynesville School District in that capacity, helping to fight poverty in our community. As I'm finishing up my 12-month commitment with Vista, is kind of culminating at the same time that this leadership class is ending, which has given me opportunity to spend a lot of time reflecting on the last year in this class and in my Vista term about what I've learned, hoping that I made a really positive impact on the organizations I've served with, and hopefully made a good impact on the ones I've served, people that I've served with. In that, it really had me thinking about transitions, especially transitions that come professionally. When I moved to this area about 3 years ago, I was in what I would call a lost in transition. I struggled a lot with the idea of moving here. I left a career, or I was on the track to a career with a company I thought I'd be with until I retired, which is kind of crazy to think considering I'm so young, but I loved this organization. So moving here, I felt like I lost a little bit of myself, and I would say the first 2 years I kind of wallowed in that idea and really felt disconnected from the community. And it wasn't until the August 2013 floods in Waynesville-St. Robert area hit, and I saw such an amazing outpouring of caring love between military and local people in Waynesville coming together to react to that horrible tragedy. And I myself went to volunteer, that I started seeing that the reason I was feeling disconnected is because I wasn't investing in the community that I've joined. You can't really expect to get anything in return from your community if you're not giving into it. So it was from that point that I did a lot of volunteer work after the flood, and I was seeking it out at that point. And I noticed as I was doing that, I was feeling a lot more at home like I did in Texas. So it was from that it led me to Vista, which has been such an amazing, amazing program. I highly encourage it for anyone that has the opportunity. And my first major project with Vista was a program called Adventure Leadership Camp. Surprisingly enough, it was working with youth and supporting programs that are trying to instill leadership qualities in youth to help prepare them for a successful life. Obviously an important skill, or we wouldn't all be here. It's from that I learned about Leadership Pulaski County when I was researching how to make this program stronger. And I applied completely on a whim, thinking they're not going to pick someone who's not native to here. They're going to want people that have been here, that are already invested. And I was pleasantly surprised to be so welcomed and honored that I got chosen even though I'm not from here. With that, you might be wondering, how is this relevant to Leadership Pulaski County as a classmate or alumni? And I find it extremely relevant, because the reason that we sought out to be a part of Leadership Pulaski County is all for the same reason. Even though it might be the details, you join for networking, you join to become a better speaker, whatever the reason, but the ultimate reason is all because we realize that we can't do it alone. Whatever we're trying to accomplish, either professionally or personally, or in our organizations or businesses, we realize that to move to the next step, we needed to work as a group, so we sought out a group to get those new skills or get that new networking. So it was in this realization that I started thinking about, when did I finally start thinking about the community bigger and above myself, especially when I was thinking about youth, because if I could pinpoint what it was for me, maybe I could offer that to the youth I was working with. And it brought me back to when I was in middle school. I was quite fortunate that I had wonderful parents, and in that we were a host foster family, so maybe it gave me a little bit more opportunity to see the world through a different lens as a child. But I started trying to think about how I could make a positive impact, what could I do, and I decided I was going to host a stuffed animal drive in my middle school. And the stuffed animals were going to go to the police department so they could put them in their trunks and give them to young kids on a call to help comfort them. There was only one major problem to my plan, and that is I was extremely shy. And I didn't really know how to go about the next step, but I was very passionate about this stuffed animal idea. And so I sought out my friend Sonia, who had all the skills that I felt or I desired to have. She was very outgoing, very energetic. And so I went and said, "Hey Sonia, we need to get permission to have this fundraiser. It's going to be a really great thing." And I said, "We need to convince the principal." And Shy Sherry's definition of "we" was, I'm gonna stand behind you while you tell the principal everything we're gonna do, and I'm gonna nod my head in agreement. But she didn't know that. She was completely on board. And what I didn't know then, what I do know now, being in a little bit of a leadership role with Vista, is that I had learned a little trait with leadership, and it's really the power of influence and realizing that other people have the skill sets that you may be lacking. If we all work together, we can accomplish those goals. On a little side note, I remember very vividly that we raised 312 stuffed animals for that stuffed animal drive in our middle school. But it was a really empowering thing. So it's really when I started reflecting more on working with youth that leadership isn't always the power of authority, but really it's the power of influence and the power of positive influence. And with that in mind is that it's a very positive tool. And there's a quote that I really, really like. I'm a little bit of a nerd for Theodore Roosevelt, and his quote is, "Example is the most potent of all things." And I think leading by example is the best way to lead with influence. So if I could have anything to ask you to take forward is to think about your example and leading by influence, and that I challenge you to take more opportunity to stay involved in the community and to seek those opportunities out. I won't lie to you and say that it'll always be easy, because it definitely won't. When Representative Lynch spoke to our class this year, he even said opportunity isn't an inherent quality, it's a choice, and it'll be hard work, and I believe that to be completely true. So, but I challenge you to keep looking for those opportunities and stay involved in the community and lead by your influence.
Sherry Kotara.